tourism model for the Aandonga people. So this will be our agenda for tonight. First, we're going to introduce our project goal as well as our sponsor, and then we will address the problem that we're going to tackle regarding the need for more cultural tourism in Namibia. And then lastly, we will present our proposed solution through our project objectives and methodology.
Dr. Lamek Mawewa and Clarence Natesta of Namibia University of Science and Technology, also known as NUST, are both the creators of our project and our sponsors. They have teamed us up with 2 NUST students to travel with us to the village and be our translators when necessary. While neither of our sponsors have any direct involvement with tourism within Namibia, they are both invested in expanding cultural tourism within Namibia, thus being the reason for the creation of this project. Our project goal, as a direct quote from our sponsors, is to contribute to the visibility of cultural assets and improve livelihoods of the Aandonga people in Oshiganga, Namibia, through the development of a cultural tourism village and related activities that can attract tourists. So there are 3 main types of tourism. These are adventure-based tourism, nature-based tourism, and culture-based tourism. Adventure-based tourism covers any commercial outdoor activity that a tourist can participate in, and it includes a wide range of thrill levels, anything from hiking to skydiving. Nature-based tourism includes activities such as safaris and photography, and can be very beneficial to a country as it can help protect national parks, as well as create jobs, which in turn leads to economic stability. While adventure-based tourism is more focused on participation within the country, nature-based tourism is more focused on observing. Culture-based tourism is when someone travels to a country in order to learn about the culture within that country. Through culture-based tourism, you can learn about many aspects of a culture, such as, but not limited to, the clothes, any ceremonies, and any food that they might have specific to their culture. While adventure-based tourism and nature-based tourism are prevalent within Namibia, culture-based tourism is lacking despite its vast potential, thus being one of the reasons for our project.
To contextualize the basis of cultural tourism in Namibia, we're going to quickly go through some Namibian history. There are 4 main eras of Namibian history: the pre-colonial period, period of German colonization, South African rule, then Namibian independence. The first 2 are the ones that are especially relevant to our project. The pre-colonial period comprises all of history up until 1860, when the first German colonists landed in the country. This period was ethnic movement made up a lot of this period, and wound up with the Kavango in the east of Namibia, the Herero in central Namibia, the Nama and Damara in southern Namibia, and the Ovambo in northern Namibia. The Aandongan people, which we'll be working with, are a subset of the Ovambo ethnic group and reside in northern Namibia. When German colonists came in and landed and established trading posts in Namibia, they forced each of these ethnic groups to kind of more smaller regions in the various areas of Namibia. When South African rule began at the end of World War I, these areas were cemented down, and the ethnic groups put down cultural ties, leading to the cultural experience that we're going to be looking at today.
So cultural tourism in Namibia today is mostly focused on the Himba and the Stam Bushmen people. The Himba people have a population of 20,000 and live in the northwest, while the Stam Bushmen have a population of 35,000 and live in the northeast. Within the Stam Bushman group, there are 6 different tribes, and each tribe has its own individual language. So when tourists go visit these areas, they get the opportunity to stay in lodges, and during their time there, they can walk around the village, talk to the local people, try their food, look at the art, listen to the music, and much more.
So the Aandonga people are an excellent example of culture within Namibia, and they are located in Oshigamba, which is in the region outlined in red on the map. They're part of the Ovambo ethnic group, and they are one of 8 groups of the Ovambo. While there's not much known about the Aandonga people that you can find online, there is a little bit, such as the fact that they have a king who was coronated last year. However, due to the nature of our project, it is necessary that we fully understand the Aandonga people and their culture, and this is the reason behind Objective 2, which I will talk about later.
So to break down our problem, we've divided our methodology into 4 main steps. The first step will be complete a case study of existing cultural tourism programs in Africa, which will then lead to a field visit where we will understand the culture of the Aandongan people. And then to satisfy one of our deliverables, our third step will be design a sustainable cultural tourism concept and eco-village through use of a design sprint. And finally, the 4th step, again using a design sprint, will be to design a marketing strategy so that the village can attract tourists and bring them to the village.
So as you can see, here's the timeline on when each objective will be completed in Namibia. Objective 1 will be completed during week 1, Objective 2 will be completed during week 2 and 3, Objective 3 will be starting week 4, Objective 4 will be starting week 7 will be editing our prototypes due to the feedback we received from our surveys, and week 8 will be finalizing our report.
So objective 1 is going to be completed after we arrive in Namibia, but before we travel to Oshigambo. Objective 1 is to complete case studies on existing cultural tourism programs in Africa on websites such as TripAdvisor. Through this case study, we will analyze both the way in which the program is advertised on the website and the reviews that previous tourists have left. This objective is twofold. Through analyzing the way in which the program is advertised, we will have a better understanding of how to advertise our own program once we reach our 4th objective, specifically in terms of what photographs we should use and what activities we should highlight. In addition, through analyzing the reviews left on the program, we'll have a better understanding of what people really enjoyed about their time in the village and what they did not enjoy as much.
So the goal of objective 2 is to understand the history and identify the key cultural aspects of the Aandonga people. This will be done in 3 stages during our 10 days in the village. Stage 1 will occur during the first 4 days, but it's going to involve us participating in local events and festivals. This will give us a chance to experience their culture, try their foods, listen to music, art, and talk to the local people. Stage 2 will be completed during our 5th and 6th day, which we're going to hold a community focus group. This is going to help us talk to the residents, and the residents are going to get the opportunity to share with us what they value most about their culture and what they want to see from cultural tourism. In addition, this also gives us the opportunity of what they will be open to share with the rest of the world. Stage 3 will happen during the last 4 days, and we're going to be reviewing our data and then holding informal interviews to collect any additional information. This will help us gather everything we have and ask the necessary questions that we have been receiving.
So as previously mentioned, objectives 3 and 4 are going to be completed using individual design sprints. A design sprint is a flexible product design framework that serves to maximize the chances of making something people want. Design sprints are typically completed in small groups of people, so our group is going to consist of us 4 and then the 2 students from NUS that will be joining us in Oshigambo. Design sprints are also typically completed in a 5-day work week with 5 separate steps, 1 step per day. Those 5 steps are understand, diverge, converge, prototype, and test. Typically, like I said, it's 1 per day, but since we are doing 2 design sprints, we're going to complete the testing phase of both design sprints together in a 3-day period. Design sprint 1 will be completed the week following our return from Oshigambo. On day 1, we'll complete the understanding phase where we go over any information we learned in our 10-day stay in Oshigambo, as well as previous research on cultural tourism programs. Day 2 will be the diverging stage where we brainstorm as many cultural tourism concepts and eco-village designs that we can possibly come up with. On day 3, we will rank those solutions we came up with from day 2 and choose the one that best fulfills our goal. And day 4, we're going to prototype the cultural tourism concepts and eco-village designs. We're going to do this in what is known as a minimum viable product, or an MVP. An MVP is a strategy where a new product or service is created with sufficient enough features that will fulfill the village's needs and wants. We're going to do this because it'll be at the minimum cost, but it will still be viable once we leave Namibia. When we do test Design Sprint 1 with Design Sprint 2, it will be through an electronic survey that we're going to give tourists in Windhoek to hopefully receive feedback on our design.
So for objective 4 will be another design sprint. This will be completed the week after design sprint, the first design sprint. The second design sprint will focus on a marketing campaign. So day 1 for our understanding phase will be through previous research to understand what other cultural tourism sites and what other tourism sites in Namibia have done to attract tourists and attract visitors. For day 2, much like the first design sprint, we'll be focusing on brainstorming marketing strategies and just spitballing and coming up with as many different ideas as we can. Day 3, for converging, will be to choose the best ones. We'll go through and evaluate based on the resources we have and the resources the village has to pick the most sustainable ones and the most effective ones for the situation. Day 4, for prototyping, will be to pick and choose and develop actual marketing strategies based off of the ideas we came up with for days 1 through 3. Finally, we will be testing it by distributing 2 separate surveys, one for the cultural tourism program itself and one for our marketing program, so that we will be able to understand if tourists like the cultural tourism program versus just the marketing, and to bring in as much data as we possibly can so we have the highest chance of success. So in conclusion, our goal is to create a sustainable, non-exploitative cultural tourism concept for the Aandongan people. This concept will celebrate their culture and will benefit them in the long run. Our deliverables for this project are cultural tourism concept and activities, a physical eco-village design, as well as marketing strategies to distribute this to tourists and the public. We want to thank Professors Dorian and Stafford, as well as our sponsors, Dr. Lamek Malewa and Clarence Natessa, for their contributions and insight to this project. Does anyone have any questions?
So just to get this straight, you're planning on using TripAdvisor for current analysis of cultural diversity tourism in Africa?
So it's more focused on looking at what people have enjoyed and what programs already exist. Not so much to kind of understand them, but just to get a really broad and overarching understanding of what people like and what people have enjoyed from current programs that already exist.
And just to build on that question, so you're getting that from customer perspective, driving people there. What about the impact, you mentioned about the non-exploitive potential problems associated with it. Do you have a methodology or an idea in terms of how you're going to think about how do the current people there view those? Do they view it as very exploitive or not?
Yeah, the goal is to make sure that the program is non-exploitive. That's pretty much our first priority. And we're going to be going over that a lot when we do our 10-day stay with the village and with the villagers. We're planning on doing a lot of informal interviews to kind of cover a lot of what the case studies talk to us about. And so hopefully in that time when we talk with them and discuss what they're actually looking for, that will point us out to the mistakes and successes that previous programs will have had.
Do you know yet where you're going to be staying? If you're going to be staying in a place that's potentially where you could have the tourism?
Yeah, we're actually lodging with a diplomat that actually lived in Washington, D.C. They have the village that we're staying in is actually urbanized, they have buildings and everything, electricity, so we're just gonna be staying off with his diplomat and his wife. They have extra rooms and it's just gonna be the 6 of us.
So do you know yet then, what's the value this is gonna create for the, for this group of folks here that this project? I mean, it's great that these folks from the city wanna help, the cultural tourism, but how do you know what value that's gonna actually bring to these folks?
So that's part of what we're going to be exploring with Objective 2, also to see what they want out of it. We're trying to go into it with not much of a mindset of what we want to do because we really want to focus on what they want. However, we are thinking along the lines that just so visitors can gain an appreciation for their culture and learn more about them. And also, I mean, they'll gain some revenue from it too, which I'm sure, is never a bad thing.
Yeah, to build off what Rihanna said, other programs that we've seen have often facilitated a small business type of model where people will have local crafts from dressmaking, textile making, baskets, that sort of thing, and they're able to sell that to tourists to kind of bring that direct revenue in, and that's one method that we've already seen that we're looking to potentially bring in. But like she said, we're trying not to go in with too many preconceptions so that we don't go in and implement something that they don't truly want or isn't the best for the program.
So you have a very detailed plan of what you're going to do each week. What is your plan for when you and your team inevitably become devoured by a rampaging mutant?
We have thought of that. The more danger is actually elephants, but we'll be very careful with that, and rest assured the plans are in place.
Sort of building off that, what are you most excited about and most worried about in traveling up to the north?
I'm excited for the stay. It's gonna be so fun. So I don't know, it's gonna be so cool to experience new culture and be welcomed. We're not really tourists in the sense. We're kind of just gonna
The
Jump
wife
in
of the
with them.
diplomat really wants to teach us how to cook.
Yep.
That's what I'm most
So
excited
we're
about.
really excited for that.
My worry is that the local people wouldn't be willing to talk to us about their culture, would be willing to share with us about their culture. But hopefully that's not the case, but that's one of our biggest worries.
Yeah, one of our biggest concerns was okay, this project is really cool, but do they want us there? Do they want this? So we asked our sponsor, and he said that they actually reached out, they responded to them, and they were like, yes, let's do this. So at first, we obviously saw that in the back of our mind, and it was being very sad, but kind of put at ease, but yeah.
In regards to your sponsor, why a village? And what were the other options that they were considering in terms of creating this cultural tourism?
Are you asking specifically about the eco-village concept?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it has to do with making sure that the location where the program is the most efficient and doesn't disrupt people's lives. Because some of the previous programs that we've already looked at have tourists coming in and staying within the village, or they're having cultural tours which just consist of a tour guide walking people around the village. And in some of our reading, we've discovered that that can be extremely disruptive to people who really want nothing to do with the tourist program and just want to live their lives. So we believe that the eco-tourism, or sorry, the eco-village model creates a place where people can go that isn't disruptive to people who don't want to be a part of the program.
Did they consider other alternatives besides the eco-village?
Alternatives will kind of be addressed once we get there, because like, what if the Aandonga people don't want a village in their village? So it's kind of like, we can't really think of alternatives without taking in the village's considerations.
Okay, but the sponsor has not considered.
The sponsor has
No,
not
no,
given us
no.
other alternatives. This was kind of the first idea that was presented, and we've been moving along towards the goal of that program because that's what they gave us.
As far as our understanding goes, they presented it to the Aandonga people as an eco-village. And they reached out to a bunch of different cultures, and the Aandonga are the one that responded to them. So we're hoping that they're on board with this idea, but we'll have to see